You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today we have an amazing guest. I mean, homie, you better thank him for the service. He's a veteran. He's a teacher, also doing another service. That's another salute. And he's also a part-time independent comics creator. What? He's done multiple projects. He's kicking ass on Kickstarter. He got a new project out now, already funded. And we were multiple days to go. So let's make it rain on the one, the only Jeff Zanelotti.
What's up, Al? What's up, Crusaders?
What's up? Thank you for joining me to talk about this awesome book you got out now on Kickstarter, Accidental Renegades. I don't know how you could go, be a renegade by accident, but you're going to put us on, aren't you?
That's what I'm going to try to do it.
Awesome. So again, thanks for joining me today and sharing some of your time. So, let's dig in, kiddo. Let's dig in. I love me a good origin story. So let me know where you're from and what was that first taste of pop culture in your young life?
All right. Well, thanks for having me. Love the show. Love to be on it. I'm Jeff Zanelotti, originally from Long Island, New York. So like you, I'm in one of the boroughs. I've been a fan of comics pretty much my whole life. I can't remember exactly what got me onto it, but I can remember an issue of Ant-Man and an issue of Crystar, the Crystal Warrior that my dad got probably from the Penn Station newsstand.
Issue? That was my first comic book. Number 2 was Crystal, the Crystal Warrior, when I was going to Puerto Rico at 8 years old.
Oh, it was the one. Hold on.
Oh, my man is about. He still got. He's like me. Be keeping them joints, son.
Yeah, no, I got it. I actually got it. It's this one.
Oh man, nice.
Issue 8.
Wow, look at that. So, another fellow Crystarian here.
Yeah, it was one of the first ones. Like I said, I'm 99% certain I was homesick, and I'm pretty sure my dad worked in Manhattan at the time. Probably stopped at one of the newsstands in like Penn Station or maybe in the LIR or somewhere and just probably picked up something from, whatever they had there. Had no idea what they were, brought them home and kind of gave them to me. He's like, hey, you're sick, go ahead and read these. And I can't remember everything about it, but I remember it having like a huge impact. And when I reach back in my mind, that's the books that I can remember reading first. So I made sure I went on online, was able to get a copy. I'm going to hang it up in the office because it's part of my origin story, like you said. So I've been a fan of comics forever. Always wanted to create my own, was always interested in telling my story, but never really wanted to do it. Always had an excuse, like I'm not ready. I'm not good enough. It's not the right time. I'm too busy. All those little lies that we tell each other. The pandemic hit.
The evil inner voice.
Yeah. No, the inner voice can be your best friend or your worst enemy, right? But for me, it was the thing that was holding me back for too long. Then the pandemic comes. We're on lockdown. I've got nothing to do but argue with people online, and that's totally useless and has never actually accomplished anything. So I kind of decided I'm going to take the energy that I would put into that, and I'm going to take that energy and invest it in something creative. And that's kind of where the creative process for me really kind of got jump started. I created a one-shot for Free Comic Book Day in 2021 called The Troublemakers, and was able to get that done on time, get it to the printers, and be able to get it out in stores all across Long Island. That kind of told me that this is something I can do. If I work hard and I take it seriously, I can make this something that I can create. And so I told myself one thing's going to happen at the end of the year. I'm either going to be a year older, having not created a comic book again, or I'm going to be a year older with something under my belt to show that I did it. And I said, I can't change one of those things, right? A year's going to pass no matter what, but I can have something at the end of it. And that was kind of the driving factor that kind of got me to it. It lit a fire into me. And now first self-published work is done. Now I'm on my first crowdfunding work, The Accidental Renegades.
Ooh, look at that. So what was that learning curve like, stepping into the arena, if you will, and learning all these things, if you will, to produce the book and whatnot? Or were you kind of familiar, based on education? How did that work out?
No, actually, I wasn't that familiar, to be honest with you. It was a lot of learning, and, I'm sure you understand the learning is still ongoing. It taught me a couple of things. One was the importance of a schedule. My experience is used to a certain amount of regimentation, staying on schedule. So having a schedule allowed me to hit some of my own self-appointed deadlines. And that was pretty important. One thing I had to kind of learn was, I've said before that perfect is often the enemy of good enough. And that when you're trying to hit a deadline at a specific date and you want everything to be perfect, the odds are you're never going to get it, but you'll probably miss your deadline. So it really kind of taught me to be able to take a step back from the work and make sure that it's good enough to tell the story, even if it might not be 110% perfect, and then just try to do better on the next one. That's kind of a lesson that I have personally learned, where I kind of had to unlearn some of my own personality in order to make sure that the product gets in the hands of the people that want it.
And it's nice that you even recognize that. Not many people don't do that. And I think that's probably has to do with you being a vet as well. Like you said, that regimen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think my military experience, definitely shaped a lot of who I am as a creator. But one thing that it definitely did was it showed me the importance of staying on a schedule and following a schedule, because it does work. At least it works for me. And whether that's a function of my background or whether it would work for anyone, I can't say. But I know for me, given my experience, that's the way that I'm able to kind of fall into a cadence, if you will, and stay on track a little bit easier.
So explain to me, what is Zed Comics?
So Zed Comics is kind of the brand that I created in 2020. And as I was starting this journey, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go under the brand of Jeff Zanelotti, me, myself, or if I wanted to go kind of under a brand. So I created Zed Comics Original. It was just a name that I thought had a nice ring to it. And that kind of became the brand. Now, I've done discussions with people before where they're like, oh, so, you're creating the Zediverse. And I never heard that before, but I'm definitely hashtagging the Zediverse because it's kind of cool.
Let's get it done, kid. Actually, yeah, right. Sounds really cool. Hell yeah.
It kind of sounds pretty cool, right? To have your own universe like that. But I really kind of created Zed Comics Original because I wasn't sure if the brand would be better served by me as an individual or by a name. And this way I kind of have the flexibility to do, Zed Comics Original, a Jeff Zanelotti production, almost kind of like a Spike Lee joint, but, with my own name on it instead of his.
I hate that's that New York in you for sure.
You got to do it.
Awesome. All right. So what do you think was probably one of the biggest lessons you've learned, in that learning journey, from publisher to the first project that you ever did?
Well, there's a couple, and one I've already kind of talked about in the importance of staying on schedule, but I think one that I probably underestimated until I got really into it was the importance of finding your community and finding your tribe in the indie comics world. I maybe underestimated how supportive everyone would be. I'm kind of used to, both in the military and in education, there's a lot of sink or swim, right? Like you either get it done or you fall behind. In the indie comic community, there's that as well. Like obviously you're expected to be successful, but never before have I seen a group of people who are also trying to do the same thing you're doing, but actively trying to lift you up at the same time. That's kind of new to me, and maybe I underestimated how prevalent that would be, but I've been impressed on an almost daily basis by the amount of creators who want to help you, even though you're trying to do the exact same thing they're trying to do, which is get your books out there.
It's the New York in us. It's the New York in us. I'm telling you, we're not the types, if somebody says, yo, great, we're like, I don't have money. What are you talking about? All right. What do you want? We have that attitude towards people. I understand that 100, because even when I started my own things and just, in general, overall in life, if somebody says hi, my kind of first instinct is, what do you want?
Yeah.
Not high back.
Right. And I think, we're like the kind of people that, New York is a chew you up and spit you out kind of place, right? So you got to be hard. You got to make it on your own. And I've always kind of been like, I'm going to succeed on my own. I don't need your help. I've got my own steam. I'll push on. And I realized that's not going to work in this community. Like, I'm not going to crack these codes by myself. I need people who've been there, done that, and have the experience. And fortunately, either I just glommed onto the right group of people or, I just got lucky. But the group that I found have been great, great group of men and women who are willing to help you and do whatever they can do to help you succeed.
What a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Really.
All right. So talk about this, one of your first crowdfunding campaigns, right? I mean, why choose this particular platform, and how's that journey been? And I'm going to be bringing up this Kickstarter soon too, because it's fire. Okay. But talk about that little journey, and why stepping into the arena with so many options nowadays with crowdfunding.
Well, I know, for my sake, I tend to do a lot of research in YouTube, a lot of research online. And the one thing that I kept kind of coming back to was that the two big ones, at least from what my research was, and this is not to slight any other crowdfunding platform, is that it was basically Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Those were kind of the two big ones that were out there. And I know there's Crowdfunder and a few others, and I'm not trying to slight those, but my research kind of pointed me in lane A was Kickstarter, lane B was Indiegogo. And I just researched them both. And just from my level of comfort, I felt more comfortable using Kickstarter. So it's kind of like, are you a Yankees fan or a Mets fan? Well, you're probably the fan of the way you were, you caught on to first, right? Went to Yankees games with my dad. I'm a Yankees fan. That's kind of how it starts, right?
Good boy. Yeah, man.
I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure which one you were going to go for. But
I saw the game the other day with the Mets, and unfortunately, that's the game that the Yanks lost.
Yeah,
and I was surrounded by Met fans. As they're chanting, "Let's go Mets!" Every time there was a pause, I was like, "Yankees!" But even they loved my attitude, because even though I was surrounded, I had the courage to still support my team. They offered me beer and peanuts. I was like, "I'm good. It might be poison. I don't know."
But it's like it's kind of like what first, right? Like if I grew up going to Shea with my dad, mayck before it was Citi Field, maybe I'd be a hardcore Mets fan, right? So yeah, I'm dating myself, aren't I? But, I started on Kickstarter. I became more comfortable with Kickstarter. I backed a few projects on Indiegogo, but I really was comfortable with the business model that Kickstarter had. I felt it was a little bit more user-friendly for what I was looking for. And I also just felt like it was a little bit easier for me to manage. Since I've been on Kickstarter, I've been, really happy with the interface, the way that you're able to kind of keep track of information, the way you're able to get metrics and some, data from it to help you kind of point yourself in the right direction, the way you're allowed to kind of fix some of your mistakes. To me, it's just been easy. Kind of the thing that I did in hindsight was I made my Kickstarter probably too long, but having never done it before, I wanted to give myself enough time to correct my course if I started a little bit off, right?
Smart move, brother. Smart move, I think.
Well, it is. I think, probably in hindsight, it's probably not going to make that big of a difference. It just means I have to manage this thing for longer. But, some of the metrics are saying whether you run a 60-day campaign or a 30-day campaign, the amount you raise is almost never going to change. Like statistically, you're going to raise about the same amount. It's just a matter of how much you're going to raise from day to day. So all I've really done is give myself a little bit more time to stay on top of it. But I'm also the type of guy that, I'll start a job and about halfway through it, I'll realize that there might be a better way to do it. And then I'll have to go and adjust. This first campaign was too important to me to mess up by overestimating my own knowledge of the program, and I'd rather give myself enough time to get it right. And that's, we're about 70% funded right now. So
let's bring it up.
I'm sorry, let me take that back. 140%. Yeah, about 147% funded.
Look at that.
So
and kudos to you, bro.
Thank you. No, I was very happy.
Look at that.
Very
it's
happy.
Wonderful. I mean, how do you even handle your own promotion? Because that's something that a lot of people struggle with, especially young independent creators, stepping into the game for the first time. For you to achieve this goal, right, to get funded so quickly as well. I mean, what was your marketing campaign like, your strategy?
I'll be honest with you. My marketing campaign was to kind of lean on the tribe, right? Kind of get their advice, get their help. And I'm a fan of the idea that a good idea is worth stealing. And I've seen some great creators come up with some really interesting marketing ideas.
You're not stealing, you're borrowing.
Right. And I've kind of taken and put my own spin on it. I've really gotten into, the meme game lately, doing memes for Accidental Renegades, kind of learning how to work the algorithm between Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to try to get the most views on it. Kind of leaning on people to help with retweets and sharing to get that information out. So, my marketing campaign is pretty much changing day to day as I see what works and what doesn't. But that's kind of how you have to do it, right? You can't use yesterday's sales techniques for today's customers, right? You got to kind of keep it fresh. And so, one of the downsides of having a campaign that's this long is it means I got to keep it fresh for a little bit longer.
Just power
again, in hindsight, I'll do it different.
A little bit, you'll be good, brother. Don't you worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Powder it, baby. Exactly. So explain, Lucy, what is Accidental Renegades? What is this wonderful world that you're creating here?
All right. Well, the elevator pitch is simple. It's Accidental Renegades is a 36-page manga-inspired comic about bumbling superpowered mercenaries who unintentionally ignite a global revolution. And it asks the question, how do you stay out of the public eye when you suddenly become the most notorious people on the planet? It kind of, the intent here was to kind of flip the superhero trope on its side a little bit, is that we're all used to superhero comics where from the very beginning, those individuals want to be heroes. That's always been their dream and they work hard to pursue it. And the journey kind of becomes the story. With Accidental Renegades, it's almost kind of the inverse. These are individuals that have power that they never asked for and are suddenly have the requirement of heroism put on them against their wishes, right? They want to be left alone. They don't want this responsibility. They don't want to be the heroes, but they have no choice because through a system or a sequence of events, the responsibility for heroism is put on them. And that's why they're igniting a revolution accidentally. They're renegades, but not by choice. So accidental renegades is kind of a change of the trope where your heroes don't want to be heroes and have to navigate those waters reluctantly.
I think that's actually a much more real approach to this type of storytelling. Because for example, if I get powers, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna be a bad guy, but I'm not gonna do things as probably as clean like a Superman would. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean, you look at the people that have power and authority and don't necessarily want to change the world with it. They just want to live their lives. That's kind of what these folks are. They're
Are you
people
talking
who
about
just want
Elon
to
Musk
exist.
trying to buy Twitter for billions instead of helping people?
I'd like to think what I would do if I had his money, but I can't even think in numbers those large.
Don't you worry, Renegades will be that large. Again, I believe in manifestation, so I think you're on the right track with something that people are really going to enjoy, in this world building. And let's start taking a nice, dope look at the campaign, because right now, 38 days to go, folks. Right, 63 backers in. He was looking for 15. He's at 22. Wonderful. I mean, and look at it. So is the book black and white color? What's popping here? That looks so dope, man.
It's manga inspired, right? So, I'm a fan of as I get older, I find that I tend to gravitate more towards art and writing that's a little bit off the beaten path, right? So if you look at some of the artists that I really admire, they're artists that can be polarizing. Guys like, Humberto Ramos, Chris Bachalo, Joe Madureira, artists that have a very unique style that is kind of their own. And because of that, not everyone necessarily feels it. But I like that these guys are taking chances and taking these risks with their art. If you look at, Chris Bachalo's art 10 years ago and Chris Bachalo's art now, there's a lot of differences. He's definitely growing as an artist, and I can definitely appreciate that. And I think that has kind of transitioned into my appreciation of manga, because indie comics has taken a lot of really huge leaps and doing some extremely creative things, more so I think than Western mainstream comics. Agreed. But in manga, they're doing some crazy things in the mainstream. You look at Chainsaw Man, look at Haikyuu, books about murderers and volleyball players are some of the biggest sellers in Japan, because for them taking risks is more normalized. So I've kind of looked at that and kind of wanted to not just the manga aesthetic, but also kind of the manga sensibility. And that's kind of where the art is largely black and white, but does have some color in it, but largely just, for the sake of aesthetics and for the sake of my personal preference, it's largely the interior art's largely black and white. I think you're muted.
Sorry about that.
There we go. It's all right. It's all good.
This is what happens when we're live, folks. All right. This is one funny. But so this green dude right here with these weird looking fists, who is this?
That's Mecha, right? So each of the characters kind of has their own backstory, and as you go through the various chapters of the book, issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, each character is going to get time to have his or her own backstory kind of shared with the audience. That's Mecha.
Okay.
Mecha's a guy who, suffered some injuries, is kind of in a suit to help, keep him alive. He's the character has every reason to be angry, but is the one character who was almost never angry. So if you look at the Renegades, he's probably the heart of the team. He's the one that keeps them up, even though he's the one who has every reason to be mad. Gotcha.
It looks like he's walking around on a giant iron lung.
Kind of, yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I love the look. And who's this young lady here?
That's Kali. She's kind of the fighter of the group.
Okay.
She's got a dark secret of her own that she's, not just fighting to protect her friends, but also fighting to keep that demon inside her from kind of winning. So she's fighting her own internal battles while also serving as the fighter for the team.
Hey, okay. And homie over here, look like he has my beard.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's Eclipse. He's the kind of the angry old man of the team. He's got a pretty tremendous power that we'll learn more about as you go through the first issue. But he also has he brings a lot of problems. And the question as we go through the story becomes, is his tremendous power worth the amount of problems that he causes for the team?
Oh, wow. What a decision to make. Now that sounds deep. I'm digging that. And what about this homie over here?
I'm not going to tell you too much about that character. You kind of get introduced to them in the first issue, and they're the part that kind of drives the story along, kind of the MacGuffin of the plot in the first. So I don't want to give too much away about that one. Okay,
and homie here.
And that in front, that's Spitfire. He's the leader of the group. He's a war veteran. He just wants to live his days in peace and quiet, and he's the one that has his goals upended when the Renegades become the face of a new revolution.
Ah, gotcha. And he's a veteran, huh? So taking part some of your experience in your life, huh? And
Yeah,
applying it.
one thing I do like about group stories, group books, is it allows for more of a diversity of perspectives, right? When you have a group, you have more than one person all looking at the same problem, but looking at it differently. And if you compare that to say a book like Batman or something like that, the book centers around Batman. So you're really only getting, or at least the main perspective of the book is Batman's perspective. That's kind of unchanged. In a group book, you get to have, the person who, is angry, and the person who's happy, and the person who's tired, and the person who's the voice of reason. Each character can kind of serve a different perspective in the story, which gives you a diversity of storytelling as, in addition to a diversity of characters and appearance.
Gotcha. So you give us a little explanation. Ooh, time bomb. What's going on here? What?
Yeah, now you're seeing some of the villains that are going to appear in the first issue to create problems for our heroes.
Oh, so time bomb, is this one person or what is this? A crew?
That's one guy, just a couple different drawings of him.
Oh, wow. I like the fact he like an old school bomb in his head. Oh, wow. I love this. Who is this? And the homie with what? I need a trench like that.
That's the group of bounty hunters that are going to end up getting the assignment to try to take down the Renegades at the end.
Oh, wow. And what type of experience do they have? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Can you tease us?
Well, I don't want to give out too much, just to say that, you've got a couple of the old school team members represented. You've got, the powerhouse woman in the back with the super strength. You've got, the leader in the front. You've got a crazy clown, because every team needs some sort of, wild card. And then you have the femme fatale, who's, the pretty one who doesn't need violence to get what she wants.
Hey, what by? You definitely know how to use them tools. And taking a little look here, a little sample page. Oh, I dig it. Look at this. Look at how the hands look. Old school, the dots, like the old school comics. Hell yeah, bro. Look at this.
Yeah, I love the way that manga and a lot of Western comics are starting to employ it now. The digital art is kind of making a play for what a lot of artists are using. Digital art gives you the ability to do some creative things with, the screen tones or the zipatones, as it was probably called back in the day.
My God, look at that panel with the city. Holy smokes. I mean, is this all you built the team? What's going on here with that?
Well, I'm a one-man show. I work digitally, so I do have the benefit of using 3D models and things like that to kind of assist in setting some of this stuff up, which is great. One thing that digital art allows me to do, and I do my work digitally, is kind of capitalize on my strengths and also help me get faster in some of the areas that I'm slow. So if there's one thing that I am critical of myself as an artist, it's that I do tend to be slow. It takes me a while to get the pictures where I want them to. So digital art enables me to work a little bit quicker. It allows me to move some things around the page a little bit more freely and have the ability to get my throughput faster and at a higher quality.
And I'm digging the panel usage here. You go to this city, something's popping, you got people, and then you got him. Whoa. I am digging it, man. Check this. Whoa, who are these guys?
Those are a couple of the enforcers, the police that are hunting the Renegades.
Okay, wow. So even the cops got their own kind of anti-renegade squad, I guess.
Well, pretty much the whole cop force at this point is anti-renegade, so they're all after him.
Oh wow! And what's up with them having hoses? Is the atmosphere not good?
No, I just wanted to go for something that looked cool.
All right, well, achieved, brother, achieved. I am digging it. Then, look at homie here, cracking one of them boys. Please, folks, do not try to beat a police officer. It's not a good idea.
No. Leave that in fiction, everybody.
Yeah. Please look at that. I mean, did he just kill him? Cause that's not even a bamf. That's a crack.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see what you mean. This old man over here, the troublemaker. All right, and check it out, folks. I want to start telling people got to spend that money so you could have some fun. So obviously you can pledge $10 without a reward just because you believe in the project. Beautiful thing, $10. But you're starting at $7. You can start getting some stuff.
Yep, right? The $7 tier is the first tier. That's the digital copy only. Now, one thing that I did with this Kickstarter is that regardless of what tier you back at, you get your name printed in the thank you page of the book. I know some Kickstarters will have it only at a certain level, and that's how they want to do it. That's entirely up to them. But from my perspective, if you're going to give me any of your hard-earned money, even if it's at the lowest tier, you get my appreciation, because I can't hit my goals unless people want to contribute. So I'm appreciative of whatever you can spare. So if someone gives $7, they'll get a digital copy of the book, and in that digital copy, their name will be printed in the back.
Amazing. And then for 15, I see digital copy, the name printed, and then a signed physical copy. Oh, you mean I'm actually going to hold an actual book in my hands, Jeff?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's the best part about it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I am a print man. I mean, no disrespect to Digi, but print is print, baby. I mean, you know, something you could put on the wall, like that wonderful crystal you got, you know, hell yeah, bro. Oh, absolutely. Check this out. Now for 35, again, is the Digi, the name, the physical, and now a unique character sketch. So you're telling me you're going to be drawing your butt off and making some unique images for everybody?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, not sure if everyone's going to get a headshot. Some will get a headshot. Some may get a bust, depending on, some may get a full body. But kind of a random sketch of one of the characters that you'll see in the book. It could be Kali, it could be Mecha, it could be one of the enforcers, it could be Time Bomb. I don't know who it's going to be. It's whoever, I guess, is inspiring me to draw that day.
And I think that's a great deal.
Individual copy. Yeah,
I think that is an absolute great deal, because you go to a convention, folks, you're probably spending 20, 25, $30 in trying to get something like that. OG. So, well, nice one. I like that one.
Thank you.
Ooh, what do you mean expires? This one expired. What happened? What were you doing here,
Al, I'm gonna tell you what lesson I learned on this one. So I had a commercial Renegade tier. I was really excited about it. Pretty much everything that you get in the exceptional Renegade, you get the digital copy, you get your name in the book, you get a signed physical copy, you get a sketch. But with this tier, you also got your likeness or your logo drawn into the book.
Oh, so you're telling me that within the book, if I had backed this one and I sent you my Comic Crusaders logo, it would have been a shop somewhere in the city.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That was the idea.
That's so cool.
And the first issue has a lot of crowd scenes. It starts in a city. There's a part where it transitions to like this big, rich person party. So there's lots of crowd scenes, lots of city scenes, lots of opportunities for people and logos to go into it. What ended up happening was I maybe underestimated how popular this tier would be. And so many people took advantage of it early on that I started to get concerned that the book was going to be, an alien world with a bunch of, no offense to any of my friends, but like, middle-aged white dudes. And there's only so many middle-aged white dudes you can fit in an alien universe. And I was kind of concerned that it was going to start to take away from the story that needed to be told. And so I put a cap on this. And that's one thing I loved about Kickstarter is, there's a lot of things that you can't change once someone backs it, but you can put a suspense and you can put a deadline on certain tiers. So I basically made it expire on July 31st. It was great. I'm definitely going to do this in future, crowdfunding future issues of the book. But for the sake of the story, and one quote I live by is everything you do has to be in service to the story. Because of that, I had to make I had to cut it off. It was going to start to get in the way, and I don't want to stop people from backing, but I also don't want the people who back to end up having a story that suffers because of my, for lack of a better word, maybe my greed, right? So yeah. I kind of got rid of that on July 31st.
That's a great idea, though. And then you started kicking off stretch goals once you got to the 2 racks. So, I mean, we're talking old school 90s foil covers.
I love a good foil cover, man. I love a good foil cover. You and me both,
bro. I mean, we grew up in that era for sure.
It's too nice. It's just too nice to not have.
And then 2,500, original exclusive Accidental Renegades and Z Comics original stickers. Nice, more physical product, folks.
Yep.
And of course, being a 90s kid, I'm sure, the trading cards.
Oh, and that's another thing. I saw someone else do it, and and it was great. And their book that they were doing was kind of more of a slice of life type book. But I thought, how great would it be to have like a trading card that on one side was the character, on the other side was some of that character's like power stats and, a little blurb about it. Like not quite Pokemon, not quite baseball cards, but kind of almost a combination of the two.
Yeah, kind of reminds me of what was it, the old score, the Marvel cards from back in the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
and some of those were great. And some of those are, I mean, I wish I kept the ones that I had, but some of those were awesome.
I still have some. I don't have the complete set, but I have some of those. I did a complete set of the Jim Lee X-Men set that came out, remember?
Yeah. Were those the ones that connected that you could put together like 9?
On the last one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Man,
so my last page is the panel one. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And they still mint, folks. Yeah, listen, they're not for sale, so don't ask me. Really, sometimes I say things and I get some weird DMs like, is that up on the block? I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. And what's this Troublemaker? Since you
Yeah, that
mentioned that too,
was
I want people to know
that.
about that too, bro.
Yeah,
What's that?
so Troublemakers was a one shot that I did in 2021. It was published in 2021. It was kind of a story I wanted to see if I could tell it. It might come back in the future, but it's just not the story that I want to tell right now. But the Troublemakers was a story about an internship for aspiring supervillains. So you often hear the stories about, you go to school to be a hero, you do this to be a hero, whatever. This was the idea of an internship, but it was actually to become a super villain. And you had super villain mentors, and the idea was the students would learn, or the interns would spend a week with the thieves and a week with the people who were the mad scientists, and the various sides of villainy and
the various departments.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of the whole idea of that is, oftentimes what we see as the villain is never the villain in their own story, right? So the tagline in that is that no one is the villain of their own story. So I wanted to kind of make sympathetic villains, to explain what their course was that got them to where they was. And it wasn't necessarily that they were bad people. And I think that's a great story to tell. It just isn't my story to tell right now with, shows like The Boys out there,
Gotcha.
Books like My Hero Academia. I feel like other people are telling that story probably a little bit better than I could. And rather than be derivative of that, I wanted to tell the story of the Accidental Renegades, which was probably closer to me personally.
I'm digging it, brother. I'm digging it. Beautiful artwork. Folks, you better be back in this bad boy. I've been showing this off over here. The Kickstarter project, Z Comics original Accidental Renegades. You heard? Make it rain on this homie. Independent comics, man. Independent creators. So, so once this book is over, do you have further tales to tell of this universe? How many issues deep would you like to go? And is there going to be any spin-offs?
Not really necessarily thinking about spin-offs right now. The universe of Accidental Renegades, I guess you want to call it the Zetaverse, right? It's got a little bit of a length to it. One thing that I've always loved about manga that is different from a lot of other comics is that most manga creators have a definitive end to their book. They know eventually the story's going to end.
And it's that one person doing the book the whole time.
Right. And I kind of feel that way about Accidental Renegades. It's a story that needs to end. It'll be a good story. It'll definitely, I think, answer, most, if not all of the questions that get posed throughout. But like anything else, it definitely needs to have an endpoint. I see that coming probably about 4 arcs, maybe 5 arcs away. So if each book works out to, about 30 pages, it's going to be a hefty story by the time that it's done. Pages. Yeah. The first book's going to be 36. So let's just assume between, 30, let's just average 33, right? If each arc is about 3 issues, then that's about 100 pages per arc. 4 arcs work out to about 400 pages. So it can end up being a fairly large story that can get into a lot of depth. And with the amount of world building that I'm trying to do, I feel like I need that room to breathe. But it's not going to go on forever. It's not going to be, a 50-year plan. It's a story that's going to end, and it's going to end, I think, in a way that concludes the story for everyone. So spin-offs would be great, but I'm not sure that's necessarily what I'm thinking right now. I'm just thinking about the today story.
Of course. Today and the now. Let's see what happens here as it moves on. But again, you already see that people are digging it, obviously, because you're funded. So it's nice to see that support because they believe in the project, just like we do at the Comic Crew. Because I know you spoke to Johnny too about this awesome book. Man.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for what the future holds for you, bro. Now, I always love to ask this question. If you ever had a choice for this to go outside of the comics platform, would you want it to be an anime, or some type of live action flick or anything along those lines? If you had a choice?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great. I mean, that would definitely be cool. I always get asked the question, would you want to work for like Marvel or DC? And, I always said, oh no, I wouldn't want to do that. And, but it depends, right? Because on the one hand, if you're an artist, you want people to see your stuff, right? Marvel and DC gives you the opportunity to do that. But as an independent artist, I don't know that I necessarily want to give up my story. And the kind of the way I put it is, why would I want to play with other people's toys when at the end of it, I got to put it back in the box? Why can't I play with my own toys that are mine and I can do what I want with them? As far as, an anime, that would be awesome. As far as a movie, that would be awesome. But I feel like it would take a lot for me to give up control of the characters. Just because, at least at this point, especially as a young creator, or not a young creator, but I'm not young, a new creator, they're kind of close to my heart.
If your beard is lighter than mine, you're young.
You got it. But the characters, they're kind of like my kids at this point. They're close to my heart. I don't want to let, I don't know if I want to just give them up yet. But
You don't want to be an empty
never
nester.
say never. Yeah, exactly. But never say never. You never know what kind of opportunities may find their way.
Excellent. Listen, I know this is going to blow up. This is going to be huge. This is going to be amazing. Again, I already see people digging it, and I would love for this to go on to other platforms. And again, you don't actually have to give control of anything.
True.
As Pat Mills told me once, he goes, when somebody calls asking about your stuff, your first question out of your mouth is, what the F do you want to do with it? I'm like, whoa, Pat. He goes, yes, talk like that. Let them know you're just going to be being like here to serve it on a silver platter. Mm-hmm. You care about your creation, and it's not going to be handed to someone that just does not know how to handle it or even see the vision that you have.
Absolutely.
It's amazing, brother. This is great. I can't wait to see how much further this Kickstarter gets. We need to keep checking up on you, brother. Because if this is, for example, this reaches 10 racks, 10,000. What's up? What you gonna do? What are you gonna give me a 90 card set with the cops, the villains?
You know what? Al, man, if you can get me to 10,000, I'll get you the card set. I'll put you and your logo in the book, man. I'll put you on the cover. You can get me to 10,000.
Let's make it happen, folks. It's feasible. I've seen projects go wild, especially again, like you said, the American audience is eating up manga a whole lot more, and this is an American manga, if you will.
Yeah.
Which it's a great thing, and it's nice to see folks like you taking it and taking control of everything, the art, the paneling, the writing, the word bubbles. I mean, kudos on you, bro. Flowers time, bro. Just kudos. I appreciate people like you, just like everyone else does. You keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing. Bless, bro, you on this journey. Let's manifest. This will be a movie. This will be an anime. I'm gonna be wearing a T-shirt real soon. Accidental Renegades. Yo, let's get it done. Let's make it happen.
That sounds great.
Listen, the power of manifestation is real, bro. We gotta just push it and believe, man. That inner voice is the one you gotta listen to. Crush the other one. All right. So just being that new young creator in the business, what type of advice would you give anyone in the same position today?
Well, I think if there's two pieces of advice that I've learned is, number one, there's always going to be a reason why you can't start, and you got to kind of shut that voice down. The day is going to pass whether you create or not, so you might as well take the time to create something. And it's never going to be perfect, but small progress is better than no progress. So I would tell anyone who's interested in starting, as easy as it is to say, you just got to sit down and start. You're going to get more done doing that than if you just make yourself excuses. That and find your tribe, man. Find your tribe, lean on them. They're there to help. If you surround yourself with good people, they'll lift you up. If you surround yourself with people that want to bring you down, then you're going to struggle to find success. But there's so many great people out there that want to help. They're not that hard to find. Stay away from those toxic people and surround yourself by those good ones. And I think you'll be surprised at how much people are actively cheering for you to succeed.
Absolutely. Toxicity belongs in the garbage. This is where exactly you put those type of people. You heard? Real, if they ain't with you, then screw them. It's not necessarily against you. They just may be haters and jealous because they cannot do what you do. And instead of being humble enough to say, how do you do it? They'd rather throw shade. You know what I mean? So screw the shade, man. Oh, no, but sunshine over here. I'm a Zetaverse person now. Let's get it done.
Welcome.
All right?
Welcome to the Zetaverse. We're happy to have you.
Yeah, bro. So, guys, this is what I need you guys to do this. All right. The most important thing today is for you guys to go visit that Kickstarter and support it. Right. Very reasonable tiers with some awesome stuff to come along with it. And let's push them up there. You want that full card set. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you want that. You want the stickers. You want the physical. Do it all. Do the highest tier, because let me tell you, it is very reasonable for you, price wise. So get it done. And of course, show your love and support. Cheerlead independent comic creators like this. So on Twitter, you can go to the letter Z Comics Original, and on Instagram, Facebook, you can follow at ZED Comics Original. Show the love, and please visit the website too. All right, take a look at zcomicsoriginal.com. All right, and tell them that the Crusaders sent you. All right, show that love. Let them know where we're coming from. All right. So, Jeff, bro, you rock. I see nothing but great success for you. Thank you again for your time. This is gonna be the illest book ever. I'll tell you. Let's make it happen on Kickstarter. This is manga, American manga, baby. All right.
Thanks, Al. You're the best, man. I appreciate it. You and the Crusaders are making it happen.
Well, listen, we're here to support folks like you, the independent comic book community, because you guys are the future of the business. So we need you. You know, as these old timers and these legends keep leaving us, you guys are the future stars and the future legends. So, you know, let's support you now, and not be bandwagon jumpers. You know.
Sounds great.
All right. So with that, you know, show the love, folks. You know what to do. Follow everything Comic Crusaders at comiccrusaders.com. Follow my extended family over at undercovercapes.com. And mi gente, hasta la próxima. ¡Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.